Hello everyone. So today marks an important date where I will start introducing AI into the code base. Like the test will be written using AI. The tests will be thought by myself, but the implementation will be written by AI because writing test make me bored. Yeah. So let me just start where I left. Last time I was writing the Redis test. Uh, let's enable the AI from today onwards. I will enable the AI and ghost text suggestion. I will only use the ghost text suggestion. I will not use the AI as a regular thinker instead of me. I will just think myself and leave the implementation to AI. The first test I want to, last test I wanted to do was the delete. T.run, and it should be delete. That is why I used AI. So first, let's see, test utils are clear. Yep, this is what we want. We need to create a new store. We need to create a job and save the job. If error in delete, then we will say like this. And let's check. Um, Now let's check. TTL instead of TTL as a normal TTL, let's pass it at 1 second. Second, okay, and I will set J1 as 5. This is okay. We recall to then it will be called fatal F. If we get, uh, let's wait for about more than a second. Time dot sleep, not 2 seconds. We will wait for around. That is too much. 1 1 0 1 is. Let's go for 1005 into time dot millisecond. So it should have been expired till then. That's all we need to check. And if expected job to be deleted, but it was found, something like that. Deleted slash expired, we can say. And let's run the test. Let's wait. It works. How did it work in under 0.003 seconds? Didn't time the sleep work? We waited for, okay, I call this. It's getting cached. What about the other implementation? What did we do that? We saved the job with same thing with the time dot milliseconds. Let's keep it this way. This is all we need to do here. Now thinking of it, there is one more test we need to check, which is if job is not found from the Redis store. Okay. T dot run. Not found. Something like that. Utility function. We will create a job store. Then we will try to get something which is non-existent, and we should expect an error. That's we need to check, and expected error for non-existent job. We need to also pass the error along, and that's all we need to check. Printf formatting director. Error call was possible. Testing error possible. Printf formatting director. Oh, we are not using error F. We were using, yeah, that you know. Okay, it's working. So the whole test suite is working for now. Let's move on to the Q test suite, starting with the factory. I will start one by one. So before that, one important thing here is we need to test the Lua script. You remember we wrote a Lua script. Let me show you. It will be around here. Yeah, this is a script to update the status. If there is a transition which is not supported, it will return error. And if there is no error, it will just return a two value. So let's check that. So for that, I will create a new file. Redis store Lua test. So it will be a package job test, and import will think later. First write test XXX, that will be status update. Okay, let's import it, and let's create a client new. Uh, that will be from test utils dot get Redis client with the T, and we have a client. Then we will defer client dot close. Then we will create a context. Will be context dot diagram. Now let's have a TTL here. Sorry, I accidentally pressed tab. TTL will be let's say 1 hour, because we are checking only for the hour. That's all we need. And T dot run. First, we will check for state transitions. State transition. We have a function. Let's firstly test utils dot flush db, or we don't have a flush db. As I remember, it was clear Redis. That's why human intervention is important here. Okay. Firstly, we will clear the Redis. Then we will create a new store. Job dot new Redis store with the Redis client as client, and TTL as TTL. That's all we need here. Next thing, we will create a new job. J1 test utils dot new test job ID. Let's say it will be J1 5 and 0. Okay, we have a job, and initially the job status is pending by the, let me just comment that out. Initial job status is pending. So now what we'll do is save this job. I don't like AI, but then st.save, the context we need to pass and the job we need to pass. Now the job has been saved. Let's test for first pending to running, which is valid transition. Okay, let's go. Let's check if error in st.update, it is updating. Yep, failed to update status from pending to running. T.error failed to update status. Or I would like better approach. Pending to running is valid, should be valid, what percent. And now the AI will pick this up and we will write the tests in seconds. Like running to pending, second will be running to pending, invalid transition, and next will be running to failed, or running to completed, or pending to get. Yes, we have a lot of transitions to cover. Running to completed, undefined job dot status completed. There is no job dot status done. Running to done. Okay. Done to running. Invalid. Done to pending. Done to pending is invalid, yeah. And failed to pending. Failed to pending. Invalid transition. Uh, okay. Done to pending. But here we need to. This will be a pain in the ass. Pending to running. Let's check from pending to running to pending to running. Then running to pending is invalid. Running to done is valid. So we are at done now. Done to running is invalid. Done to pending is invalid. Okay. Let's set the job status here. J1 dot status job dot status field. That will be like this, and setting status back to running, status to failed, or next action. Failed to pending is valid transition. And it should be valid dot this done, and failed to running should be valid if error in this. Failed to done should be invalid. A lot of information. Let's check this out first. Okay, let's update the status to dead. Failed to dead. Let's call this failed to dead. Valid transition. Failed to pending. Valid transition. Here we were at pending. Let's again set status to failed. Failed to running invalid. Failed to. As much as I can think of, I have set the state transitions. There will be a lot of permutations and combinations, and I think there can be a better way to write the tests. But for now, let's work with this one and it fast. Later, we will think about other ways to represent the test. Okay. Next thing we need to check is t.run. What should we check here? Should we check? The transitions are working fine. Yeah, one thing I remember is we were also updating the updated ad. Here we can see updated status here. when we called this, then we also, where is it? Not here, not here. It should be like here. Current status. Yeah, here. We were, if not valid, then Redis.call. Yeah, we were also updating the updated ad. So we need to check if updated ad is being updated. For that, updated ad being updated. That should be a function for testing. Shape tool. Let's create a shape tool. And let's save it. Capture initial updated ad. If updated ad will change. Update status to running. Retrieve the job again to check updated ad. If not updated ad, the initial not updated ad. P.error. Yep, this is looking good to me. So what the test is doing is it's creating a new job. It's storing the job into the store. Then it's checking the initial updated at, which is updated at value of J2. Then we are setting a sleep time of 1 second. And then if any error occurs when you update the status, then it's check that. If getting an error occurs, then it's check that. And lastly, it checks if updated at for current is after initial updated at. So that should cover the test suite here. And let's call it a day for this test. But now moving on to the Q test. So what I need to test is firstly the factory. So for the factory, what I will do is, let me think about it. The first test I will need for the factory is, let me just go through the, so we are initializing a factory. So we can have two values like test memory factory and test Redis factory. So both will have a simple test suite. I don't think it needs much testing, but for the sake of it, let's test it out. Factory underscore. Since it's a small module, I will have the Redis and the um, normal, what we call it, package queue, but it will be, yep, factory test. So we need to differentiate into import. We will import testing and then we will say we don't need to certify from test memory factory. Memory factory. We are testing the memory factory with the star. We are creating a new memory factory, then we will run g.run create success. It means there was success in creating the factory. So let's create some like that. So first I will check for Q comma R. We will create a factory dot new. That will be test Q. Okay. If error is null, d dot fatal expected, g dot fatal f expected success dot error, that would be percent v other error possible long if q equals to nil. but that will be checked here. If q dot name is not equals to test q, expected q name test q got some test, and if that's what I think it is. And lastly, we will check if underscore okay, yep, q is the type of memory q, then you will go, but if not okay, then expected type memory q dot percent t. Next thing we need to do is t dot run. We will create hmm, hmm, empty name, checking if someone passes empty name, then there should be error. Well, let's create a queue. Underscore error equals to factory dot new. Let's pass empty name, and if error not equals to error dot empty queue name, then should be t dot error f. It should be like expected error empty queue name dot dot percent v. That will be our error. And lastly, we need to close this out. And let's test it. Now let me check what this does is new Redis client plan to be created new Redis factory. Should also work fine, but the client needs a much. Let's have it different. Rename it to factory underscore memory underscore test.create. Next thing we need to check is factory underscore redis underscore test dot go. So it will be package qtest. We will be importing testing and our Redis version and nothing else. I don't think Redis also is required here. Let's go with testing for now. Func test Redis factory. We want to connect actual Redis here. That is test utils dot get Redis client, which will give us a client, and it doesn't give us an error. So it would be t factory new Redis factory. If expected success got is t dot create success. What error? It will copy that from the last time we did it. And what is this? Undefined new Redis factory. Yeah, it should not be like this. It should be factory dot new. Factory dot new, which will be given. Will take a test queue, but the name section has been tested out, and name is checking the new has been checked out, so this is not needed here. If there is nil client, what is it? If there is nil client, does it give any error? Return error. New Redis factory. It shouldn't be new Redis factory. It should be what is the interface factory new name new memory factory and new Redis factory. It should be new Redis factory. What is their issue? Undefined new Redis factory. That should be q dot new Redis factory. That is it. And that should work. Q dot Redis q. And let me check it. Let's also check the nil client one. 3.1 nil client. Expected error is when got this. For this, the test has been written. Next, we will check for the manager. So manager just manages new queue manager. It just registers, gets set default queue, default name, and list. It's a small test. But it will work on the package itself. It doesn't need a queue test package like the Redis integration test. So let's do it. Okay. Uh, let's go with manually. So manager underscore test dot do. That will be our test file. Package will be Q. And let's go with one test queue manager. We can have a default queue manager, but let's not have it. T dot run register and get queue. That's the first thing I need to check. We'll create a manager, a queue, which is type of where is it getting the mock queue? I don't want to add that mock queue here. I will add new memory queue because the working will be same for both memory queue and our what we call it Redis queue because it's just registering. If error in manager.register, then we will split it up. Unexpected error, not unexpected error register failed. And that's our error. Next, we will get dot error manager dot get q1 get failed if got not equal to q get the same q instance and that should be get failed expected to get the same q instance. That's too vague. That should be something like retrieve q does not match registered q. That's the one I'm thinking about. So next we'll check for register validation. T.run register validation. We'll create a new manager. If error in manager, then error not equals to this, then we will expected error will queue got this. Then we will if error in new memory queue, that's a good one. Empty memory queue, there should be error, which is empty queue name. And lastly, we will have a queue named this one, manager.register queue, and we are checking if error is not equals to error queue already exists because queue was already existent. But where is the queue existent? No, we never created the queue. How will this work? setup field. I need to just close this out and run this. When define testing, before testing is the one thing we need to do. Before testing, now just run it. Okay, how is that? Okay, manager dot register queue. New memory queue. We created a new memory queue Q1. Okay, we register the queue. Manager dot register queue. Error not equals to already. Error queue already exists. Why does it show error queue already exists? Did we create it? Dot queue. The register method was not called before this. Let me check one thing here. When I call new memory queue, the register does not get called. So why is this passing? This bit of code passing? This one. Why is this one passing? This shouldn't pass like this. Manager dot register. Okay, we register manager equals to new queue manager. Let's have a central manager instead, and instead we are verify this. Now this can be like I can get register and get this is much clear. Let's see. Next thing we need to do is check if the default queue behavior is right or not. Every function will reject because we don't need to write much. We can check every behavior default. Okay, and we will have if error underscore error in default queue manager dot default the method default. It should be default queue. Error not equals to default queue not expected to expected error default queue not set got sent to be the error because we haven't set but we have set the default queue. It should fail. Why isn't it like this? Yeah, this should fail. Expected error default queue not set. It should fail. So what we need to do is we need to create a new local manager here. Local manager and here now this should work. The whole test suite should work. Yep. Now this will work. We have a local manager and we have a normal manager for this. Let's register one queue. Okay. If manager now shouldn't be like this. If local manager or default queue not equals to default queue, and it shouldn't be default queue, it should be default queue name. The manager or default or our default name, and it shouldn't call like it should call like it not equals to default queue dot name. Default, yeah, this will be fine. Default queue did not return the expected default queue name. That should type this expected dot. Next thing we need to check is, can we override the default queue? Manual override. Not for testing. We can override the default queue. Let's create a Q1, new memory queue, local manager job register, and we will set it to default. Local manager dot set default Q1, set default if manager, local manager dot default name is not equal to Q1, then it should give an error. And lastly, let's create a set invalid for this will work fine. Set default and non-existent, which is not a queue with the we have, so it should give us this error. Let's run this, it should be fine. Let's run the whole test suite, and this is working fine. Next and last function we need to test is our list. What was that? There was a function in manager, list names here. I was confused between list name and list views. So p dot run list names. So manager, let's have a local manager here too. This is too much. This is not to be made. Name equal to local manager. If after this we should directly say if length of names is not equal to 2, expect 2 names got this, and if name 0, name so 0 is not equals to Q1 and names 1 is not equals to Q2, then this should look like this. Expected Q should be Q1 and Q2 got this. It should look fine, right? So manager tests are done. Next, we need to test the memory version of the queue and the Redis version of the queue. So let's write the tests. Firstly, we need to think about what the test should test first. Test memory queue should firstly test the order of activity, because we are enqueuing and we are dequeuing. So order of enqueue and dequeue. Secondly, it should test the priority DQ, because we were dequeuing based on priority. So priority ordering will be much better. Creating an empty queue and length and name of the queue, that will be better. That's all we need. Let's create memory underscore test dot package. Qtest will be Qtest.q. What will be? It will be needed. Qtest will work fine, or Q will work fine. There's no in any of these. Let's import testing. Import testing. Test memory queue. Okay. So we need test memory queue. Let's create context.background, and a queue manager should be formed. Let's also spawn a queue manager. Queue, or we should spawn a new queue. Queue dot new memory queue. Let's call it test queue. That's good. T dot run and queue and D queue ordering. So it will test for ordering of NQ and DQ. So what we need is to create a job. Okay, we will create a new job, and we will create two jobs. First, higher priority, but mm, um, later runtime. Yeah, job one, actually job one something, or J1 equal to test utils dot new test job, which will have ID J1, and the priority, let's say priority is 10, and 100 milliseconds delay. Milliseconds, sorry. Yep. So we created a new job. One thing I need to confirm before I move forward is the priority was like higher priority was higher number, right? If I may remember. Yeah, the higher priority was higher number. So that's what we need. So it will create it now, and lower priority, but earlier runtime. That's good. 50 milliseconds. We don't even need 50 milliseconds. We can start it here. 0 as it is. And let's enqueue these two. Q.enqueue. J1. We need context on J1 and Q.enqueue. Let's now dequeue. Report from error. If bot.id is not equals to expected J2 to be reduced first. Yep. And next dot comma now this J1 to be declared second. But this should fail because we have 100 millisecond delay. Expected r.dequeue in the context. Expected, yeah, and this point will be like if expected nothing but expected no jobs ready at all. But this because we are instantly dequeuing. Next thing, let's wait. That's time dot sleep. Instead of 150, we can sleep for 105 milliseconds, or 101 is fine, but no problem. And let's go to this one. DQ pair. J1 pair. Here we should have DQ J1 pair. Expected J1 to be DQ. got this. Let's run the test and it's failing. Expected no jobs ready. Error got no jobs ready. No jobs ready. What the hell? What did it get? Can it be verbose? Let's debug this test. Instead of debugging session, I can simply call it like this. And let's call it cd internal view. Here we will run go test. What's memory test dot show. Wait. I need it to be verbose. Expected minute to be ready. Come on, items. Zero force. What should be the issue? Oh, the issue, I think I got it. Error should not be equal to error should be equals to nil, or error dot error should be no jobs ready. It should be nil, or if it is nil or no jobs ready, we will say not no jobs ready, we will say this. And now it works fine. That was the whole issue. Now we will check for priority ordering. P.run priority ordering. Okay, so we'll create new memory queue priority test. Queue that we find. Yep. And for this one, this will be also the quiet remove this back her time every time. Runtime, runtime. Let's say at 50 milliseconds delay, not 1 second. 50 milliseconds delay. Create a job J1 with the 0 in the you can have a delay instead of no issue. 50 into time dot seconds. Yep. And let's create J2. And the priority is between 0 and 1 and 10. It should be 10, it should be 1, should be, let's call this low priority job, let's call this high priority job. So let's enqueue both of these and let's wait for around 100 milliseconds. Q dot enqueue this and let's wait 55 milliseconds. Yes, got error Q dot DQ dot ID not equals to high. And this much is enough because we have tested NQ and DQ ordering. So this should work fine. After this, we will have this only one job. So this should be like DQ first. And it's failing. Got low. It got low first. Why is that? That shouldn't be the issue. Sort based on priority. Job based on priority, whichever the priority lower and the less is used where it is used in our heap, it is used less function is used in our heap. So sort based on priority. Higher priority should come first. That's also what AI is suggesting. So why is that failing? Why are we getting q dot dq q x qx, and let's name it qx. Need no external monitoring. Expected high priority job to be debuted first got low. How can it get low? Hmm. Yep, there's one issue. I have to remember that the time dot now for these two is set here. So these are not created in the same instance. This is created first, this is created second. So that's not how we can do this. We have to pass along 0 here and J1 dot run after and J2 dot run after, and we should also save one now time dot now, and here we could control D, and now both of these will have the same time. Yep. Before that there was milliseconds of delay in execution and that was causing the issue. Now let's move on to the other bit. We will test t dot run mtq or mtq. Which will refresh and will not create a new queue manager. Let's create a queue manager. Queue. If this is the issue everywhere, then why did we create expected queue? Firstly, this is bothering me a lot. So this should work like this. Q should be here. Or should be Q, Q dot DQ, and this should be like this. And first we will check. We only need to check one thing. If error equals to nil, if Q is empty, expected Q is empty, error got. This is right. And last thing we need to check is length and name. T dot run length and name function t dash q. If q dot name is equals to this, expected inlet to be 0, got this. Let's enter two jobs, expected this. And lastly, it will just this is all right. This should work. That's all we need to test in our memory queue. Let's move on to our what we call it, the what is it? What is it? Redis-based queue. Yeah. Give me a second, guys. Let's move on to the Redis-based queue. So we can what we need to test is not in there. Let's test it. After this, I will close the stream off, or I can also test the Lua function. That depends on how much time we have. You underscore test. dot not q underscore test dot go. This should be Redis underscore test dot go. Test dot go. Yep. And it should take the q test package. Import statement will be written later from what am I doing? Test the Redis q. And that should be like this, and that should include like this, it should include like this. And import after importing, let's test. Let's create a client, test utils dot get Redis client with the key defer client dot close. We'll create a context, which will be context dot background, and that's all we need. First, we will test p dot run nq and dq. We'll create a new Redis queue, name it test queue. It also gives out error if I remember correctly. It's not test utils, it should be queue dot new Redis queue. And it gives us an returns to value. It gives us error too. So we need to check the error too. If error not equals to null, it takes arguments as name first, next queue, and then it takes the client. Yep. Fail to create Redis queue. Let's create new job. Test utils dot new test job ID J1. Assign priority 5, and after delay 0. Let's enqueue. Yep, this one. Fail to enqueue the job. Let's dequeue. Fail to dequeue the job. If dequeue.id is not equal to k.id, that should work fine. And before that, before dequeuing, I should check q.len, which is our q.len is not equal to 1. Expected q length to be 1, dot this. Then we should dequeue, check the ID, and lastly, after dequeuing, we should check the q length. Q dot length is not equals to 0. Expected q length to be 0, dot this. Length to 0 after dequeue. Let's run this. That is working fine. Next test we will write is for priority and ordering. But that will be checked in our Lua testing. But let's have a small test here. T.run priority and ordering. It should be a function of type T. It should create a client, and that should be like this. And it should go like this. So we'll create a new queue. Before that, test utils dot clear Redis type T and client plus In the above step, I should also clear the Redis before checking. So let's create a queue, new Redis queue. Put the name, let's say test queue client. Just like that, we can create now. To time dot now. J1. That's too much information here. 0. It is new test queue. J2. Let's have J1, J2, and let's have J1 dot run after. Run after equals to now, and J2, J1 dot created at equals to now. Same with J2. Not like this. I don't want. I am checking for priority scheduling, not this. J2 dot created at now. So I have J1, J2, both created at now, and let's enqueue q dot enqueue cdx1 cdx J2. That's got what got one q dot if we have the higher priority, this one has the higher priority. We don't need error handling here because that was what we tested, and that's working fine. So we tested higher priority should come first. That is what we tested. Next thing we will test is delay and run after. T.1 delay and run after function will create a new queue. Let's have J1, and instead of this we can simply pass 200 into time dot millisecond u dot enqueue J1. We will check underscore error. It should not be q dot enqueue. If error equals to nil, or no jobs ready. That was the error. We should be saying expected no jobs ready. Error what percent we error. Yep. Next we will wait. Time dot sleep. Let's have a 15 millisecond sleep. But error to able to decode the job, expecting job ID this. Got this. This is fine. One thing I need to check is where is the quickly where is it? Here. And it's working fine. Next thing we need to check is notifications of the pub sub. run notifications on test. Okay, we will create a new queue. Then we will subscribe to a notification channel, defer the unsubscribe, create a new job, add to the notify channel, and check if something gets in the notify channel. Yep, that is what we need to check. Yep, let's do it. Notify ch comma unsubscribe comma error q dot subscribe notifications failed to subscribe to notifications percentage. Why does it remove this one? We have a notify channel. Now we will create a new job. J1 dot test tutorial dot new job. New test job. Let's spawn a go pump and enqueue that into it so that we can check on the main thread. Select case. Yep, these are the two cases. Not give it 500 milliseconds in a dot dot if we get anything, because in the notification channel we are just checking if we get anything, because notifications does not carry anything, any info, they are just there. So this should result in success, and if there is timeout, then expected notification but timed out. That's it. And the last thing we need to check is empty queue. T dot run empty queue DQ. Let's create a fast one. If I know is already and this and this. This is easy test. It should work fine. Everything looks good to me here. Next thing we need to do is test for the Lua script. The last thing for this is testing the Lua script. What do we need to test? First, let's check the Lua script itself, which is in Redis.go. Here we will have our Lua script. So if local guard item is 0, then return 0. Local member items 1, when not included, if local 4, restart call, if payload, then we will remove, then remove. Let's first check if there is a dangling member. It should remove it from Z set, our Z set, or our, what do we call as our set. It should remove from Z set, like this. If there is no payload, it should remove it from there. And next thing we need to check is multiple and multiple numbers. This is the most important thing we need to test. Let's test it tomorrow. Firstly, I need to create some context about what do we need to test here. So I'll say that the Q part is done, retry was written by me, test utils don't need testing, vector is done. Metrics part, there is some test remaining, and I think after that we are good to go. And I think maximum by tomorrow the test should be written, maximum by tomorrow, or day after tomorrow. The test should be complete and we will move on to creating the library. So thanks for watching. Let's meet you tomorrow. Bye bye.